Off the coast of Yemen, in the el-Mandab Strait, a Saudi Arabian shipping tanker is burning after being struck by Iranian-backed Houthi forces. The Houthis now maintain functional military control over this choke point, using a sustained blockade to dictate which vessels are permitted to pass. Efforts to secure the region have stalled. Maritime intelligence agencies like the UK MTO, which typically track these incidents in real time, have begun delaying their reports, obscuring the sheer volume of attacks occurring on the water. This map shows the scale of the logistical retreat. Saudi Arabia is being forced to abandon the Red Sea entirely, rerouting its tankers on a massive detour around the southern tip of Africa to reach their destinations. When commercial vessels must navigate around an entire continent to avoid a local militia, the capacity of the United States to guarantee safe passage through these vital lanes has reached a visible breaking point. This pattern of withdrawal is not limited to the Middle East. If we track the movement of American assets into the Pacific, the same erosion of presence becomes clear. The United States has removed its final aircraft carrier from the Pacific theater. To address maintenance issues on the USS Abraham Lincoln, the Navy pulled the USS George Washington from its post, leaving a significant gap in the region's security coverage. As the American fleet departs, China is moving to fill the void. This physical absence allows Beijing to position itself as the primary power in the region. This shift is already visible in the region's diplomacy. Chinese President Xi Jinping is securing new meetings and strengthening alliances with core American partners, such as South Korea, while the U.S. influence continues to recede. Xi's approach toward Washington reflects this new dynamic. He has scheduled a one-day visit to meet with the American president, a brief, perfunctory stop that treats the U.S. administration as a minor diplomatic priority. With the U.S. security umbrella physically removed, the leverage once held by Washington is rapidly being replaced by a new, Beijing-led diplomatic reality. This retreat from global security has a direct impact on the American economic system, as the financial stability once guaranteed by U.S. dominance begins to fracture. We saw this during the administration's recent attempt to stabilize the Japanese yen. Without notifying the European Central Bank, the U.S. dumped billions of euros onto the market to prop up the yen, an intervention that failed to sustain the currency's value. At home, the economic markers are equally stark. 30-year Treasury yields have climbed to 5.3%, making the cost of servicing national debt prohibitive, while the Strategic Petroleum Reserves have been drawn down to their lowest levels in decades. While domestic stability weakens, the administration is using its remaining international leverage to target global legal institutions. The U.S. government has imposed harsh sanctions on Tomoko Akane, the president of the International Criminal Court. By freezing her assets and cutting her off from the U.S. financial system, the administration is attempting to dismantle the court's ability to function. These sanctions are designed to protect Benjamin Netanyahu from war crimes investigations, even as and the targeted financial destruction of international judges. The administration is prioritizing the protection of isolated allies over its own economic standing and legal credibility. In Washington, D.C., the physical environment of the commander-in-chief remains insulated from these global crises. The Oval Office has become a site of increasing isolation. Inside the White House, recent briefings have taken on a surreal quality. The president has frequently shared the stage with a teenage lifeguard and young children, often using their presence to pivot away from aggressive questioning by the press. While dodging questions regarding the North Korean missile program or the failing alliance with South Korea, the president instead chose to comment on the teenage lifeguard's genetics and the appearance of the boy's mother. This manufactured environment ignores the physical conditions endured by U.S. service members deployed in the Pacific. On the smaller ships accompanying the fleet, basic infrastructure has failed. Reports from sailors describe working for nearly a week without functional plumbing, forcing personnel to live in squalor while the administration focuses on domestic optics. The architecture of American influence is fracturing from within, driven by administrative neglect and a widening gap between official messaging and the physical reality on the ground. Tracking the extent of this decay requires looking past the podium and relying on independent data to map a world that the bunker no longer acknowledges.